The question posed by a sister on the YouTube: if I sew such clothes which expose the upper part of the chest, cleavage and shoulder don't show, so is it halal earning or haram? I believe the question posed is that talking about a tailor stitching clothes for a lady where the upper part of the chest is seen and the cleavage and the shoulder is seen, so is it halal to stitch such clothes? First, you should realize what is the purpose of these clothes. You know, normally when you stitch undergarments, but natural, it's possible to show the cleavage, and it's perfectly fine because the clothes worn under the other clothes. But if there are other clothes where you know that a lady is wearing clothes only amongst the ladies, and if some part of the body is exposed, then it's not haram. But wearing such clothes otherwise outside, it is not permitted. So depending upon the clothes, that if you know that you're stitching clothes for ladies who are going to wear an abaya on top of that, then it's perfectly fine. But if you know that you're stitching designer clothes and people wear these clothes, not wearing a coat over it or wearing an abaya over it, and if you're aware of it, stitching such clothes is not permitted. Because Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Ma'idah, chapter number 5, verse number 2, that help one another in righteousness and taqwa. Do not help one another in sin and rancor. So if you're making clothes which you're aware that ladies will be wearing for parties and exposing the body and would be involved in things which are haram, then it is not correct to stitch such clothes. But if you know these clothes are worn at home, it's not worn, the ladies are not going to wear it in front of the na-mahram. There are some Muslim countries where people wear abaya. So if you know that it is not going to involve any haram action, then there's no problem. But if you're aware that this will be worn by ladies who normally go for parties outside and they don't wear the hijab, and you are specially catering to them, then it is not permitted for you to help them in doing haram activity. You should not stitch such clothes. So depending upon how it's going to be used, and you as a tailor know better your customers, so based on that, you have to decide whether what you're doing is haram or halal. Hope that answers the question.